the life of Ron Howard has always looked perfect from the outside. For decades, people saw him as the smiling child actor who grew into one of Hollywood's most respected directors. But behind that calm and successful image, there were struggles, regrets, and emotional moments that shaped who he became. In a recent reflection on his life, Ron opened up about some painful truths, especially about choices he made while chasing success. One of the most difficult moments he talked about was a decision in 1991 that kept him away from his family for months. At the time, his career was rising fast, but his personal life was quietly suffering. He also shared how someone very close to him almost got lost to addiction while he was busy winning awards and building his reputation. These are the kinds of stories people never saw. They show that even someone who seems to have everything can carry deep emotional weight. Ron's journey is not just about fame and success, it is about sacrifice, mistakes, and learning the hard way what really matters in life. Ronald William Howard was born on March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma, into a family already connected to acting. His father, Rance Howard, and his mother, Jean Spiegel Howard, were both involved in the entertainment world, which meant Ron was introduced to acting almost from birth. In fact, he appeared on screen before he could even speak properly. His early years were very different from a normal childhood. While other kids were learning to play outside, Ron was learning how to stand in front of cameras and follow directions on a film set. His family later moved to California so they could be closer to the growing television industry. This move changed everything for young Ron. It gave him access to opportunities that most children could never imagine. However, it also meant that his childhood would be shaped by work instead of freedom. Even though his parents tried to keep things normal at home, his daily life was far from ordinary. This early exposure helped him become comfortable in front of the camera, but it also started a pattern where work always came first. Ron became famous at a very young age when he played Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show. The show made him a household name, and people loved the father-son relationship he shared on screen with Andy Griffith. What many viewers did not know was how serious Ron was about his work, even as a child. He was not just acting, he was learning discipline, timing, and emotional control. His father played a big role in teaching him how to perform naturally and honestly. Ron did not try to be cute or overly dramatic. Instead, he focused on telling the truth through his acting. While this helped him stand out, it also came with a cost. Ron later described his childhood as a golden cage. He was safe and successful, but he missed out on simple things like playing with friends or going to regular school. Most of his time was spent on set, surrounded by adults. Even though people treated him kindly, he often felt isolated. This experience shaped his personality and made him mature faster than most children his age. As Ron grew older, he continued acting and took on new roles, including his part in The Music Man. During this time, he faced new challenges, such as performing in musical scenes even though he was not naturally skilled in singing or dancing. Instead of giving up, he worked harder and found ways to improve. This determination became one of his strongest qualities. Later, he gained even more fame as Richie Cunningham in Happy Days. The show was a huge success, but it also created frustration for Ron. He was getting older, yet he was still playing a cheerful teenager while the real world was dealing with serious issues like war and social change. He wanted the show to reflect reality, but the network preferred to keep things light and simple. This made Ron feel limited and pushed him to think about directing instead of acting. He wanted more control over the stories he was telling. This period of his life was important because it marked the beginning of his transition from actor to filmmaker. Ron's move into directing started with small projects, but it quickly grew into something much bigger. One of his early films, Grand Theft Auto, showed that he had real talent behind the camera. He worked with limited resources but managed to create something exciting and successful. Over time, he directed bigger and more complex films, including Splash and Apollo 13. These projects proved that he could handle both storytelling and technical challenges. However, success did not come without pressure. While working on Apollo 13, Ron pushed himself to the limit. He worked long hours and focused deeply on every detail. Eventually, his body could not handle the stress, and he collapsed due to exhaustion and health issues. This moment was a wake-up call. It showed him that even success has limits and that pushing too hard can have serious consequences. Despite this, he continued to work hard, driven by his passion for filmmaking and his desire to tell meaningful stories. In 2001, Ron reached one of the highest points of his career with A Beautiful Mind. The film was a huge success and earned him an Academy Award for Best Director. It told the story of mathematician John Nash and explored themes of mental illness, reality, and perception. Ron used a unique approach to storytelling, allowing the audience to experience the main character's confusion and struggles. This film showed how much he had grown as a director. However, even this success came with criticism. Some people felt that the movie left out important parts of Nash's life. Ron understood that telling a story sometimes meant making difficult choices about what to include and what to leave out. Despite the criticism, the film was widely praised and became one of his most important works. It confirmed his place as one of the top directors in Hollywood and showed that he could create powerful, emotional stories that connect with audiences around the world. While Ron's career was reaching new heights, his personal life was facing serious challenges. His brother, Clint Howard, struggled with addiction during the 1980s. This was a painful time for the family, and Ron later admitted that he felt guilty about it. He believed that his own success may have made his brother feel left behind. In 1991, Ron made a decision that he would regret for years. He left his family for 6 months to work on a film project overseas. At the time, it seemed like an important career move, but when he returned home, he realized what he had missed. His children had grown, and his wife had been handling everything alone. This experience deeply affected him. He understood that no amount of success could replace the time lost with family. From that moment, he tried to make different choices, focusing more on being present at home. However, he later admitted that he did not always succeed, and those regrets stayed with him. In later years, Ron continued to work on many projects, including films and documentaries, but he also spent time reflecting on his life. He talked openly about his regrets, especially about missing important moments with his children. He also shared how difficult it was to balance work and family. Despite his success, he remained humble and focused on learning from his mistakes. He credited his parents for teaching him strong values and helping him stay grounded. Even after decades in Hollywood, Ron continued to evolve and adapt. He took on new challenges, worked with younger actors, and explored different types of stories. At the same time, he made an effort to be more present in his personal life. His journey shows that success is not just about achievements, it is also about growth, understanding, and making better choices over time. Today, Ron Howard's story is seen as both inspiring and emotional. He achieved incredible success, but he also faced real struggles and made difficult mistakes. His life reminds us that no one is perfect, no matter how successful they appear. Behind every achievement, there are sacrifices and lessons. Ron's willingness to share his story makes it even more powerful. It shows that it is never too late to reflect, learn, and grow. His journey from child actor to award-winning director is impressive, but his honesty about his regrets is what truly connects with people. In the end, his story is not just about Hollywood, it is about life, family, and the choices that shape who we become. Even after achieving massive success, Ron Howard faced moments in his career that tested his confidence and decision-making. Not every project he worked on became a success, and some choices stayed with him for years. One example was when he decided to direct EDTV instead of another film that later became a huge hit. At the time, it seemed like a smart and creative choice, but the movie did not perform well at the box office. Critics compared it to similar stories and felt it lacked the same emotional impact. This failure was difficult for Ron because he had built a reputation for making successful and meaningful films. However, instead of letting this setback define him, he treated it as a learning experience. He understood that failure is a part of growth, especially in a creative field like filmmaking. This mindset helped him move forward and continue taking risks, even when the outcome was uncertain. It also showed that behind every successful person, there are moments of doubt and disappointment that are rarely seen by the public. Another major challenge in Ron's life came when he worked on the Da Vinci Code. The film was based on a highly controversial book, and even before filming began, it faced strong reactions from different groups. Some locations refused to allow filming because of the story's sensitive themes. This forced Ron and his team to find creative solutions, such as building detailed sets and using digital effects to recreate famous places. Despite these difficulties, the film became a huge financial success worldwide. However, the process of making it was far from easy. Ron had to deal with pressure from studios, criticism from the public, and the challenge of staying true to the story. This experience showed his ability to stay calm and focused even in difficult situations. It also proved that success is not always smooth or simple. Sometimes, it requires patience, flexibility, and the courage to face criticism while continuing to move forward. As the years passed, Ron also experienced deep personal loss. His father, who had been a major influence in his life, passed away after a long and meaningful career. This was an emotional moment for Ron because his father was not only a parent but also a mentor and supporter. He had been there from the very beginning, guiding Ron through the challenges of being a child actor and teaching him important lessons about honesty and hard work. Losing him felt like losing a part of his foundation. Around the same time, Ron also reflected on the importance of family and the role his wife played in keeping everything together. While he was busy working on films and building his career, she was often the one managing the home and raising their children. This realization made him appreciate her even more. It also reminded him of the sacrifices that come with success and the people who quietly support it behind the scenes. In recent years, Ron has taken on projects that are more personal and meaningful to him. One example is his work